Hey everyone, welcome to Points in the Paint from For Fantasy's Sake, brought to you by Yard Barbers. Huge shout out to Yard Barbers for the sponsorship for tonight's show. We are on a weekly Thursday show every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. You'll see my face and better Sam's face than my face. Talking about basketball, we'll talk about what's going on in the NBA, some NCAA things, and then just different topics that are going on. Also, For Fantasy's Sake has a team store now. So you can go to Viridian Global and you can check out the stock that For Fantasy's Sake gears got. We've got t-shirts, we've got hats, snapbacks. There's a baseball shirt in there that I've been eyeing that I'm going to be putting an order in for soon, and I'm excited for. But what you can do is you can go to our page and check out our latest post, extending our giveaway to Sunday at 5 p.m. Central. Go to Viridian Global's page, hit us with a screenshot below, and you'll be entered to win a free snapback hat. These are brand new from Viridian Global. I'm excited for him, Sam. I've never had like a fantasy gear to wear. I'm excited for it. I don't know if you were able to check out the store at all.
No, I've seen it. There's a couple shirts I've seen, but I'm probably gonna get. I've seen a hoodie too, but I got my eye on a few things in there as well. So I'm right there with you.
All right, but we're gonna go right into some basketball.
Let's do it.
I feel really, really bad that I missed this last week. It was on my list, and I just blanked on it. Huge shout out to Rock Island native Chason Randall for getting back into the NBA, making his mark with the Magic.
The Magic?
Yep.
Nice.
He was drafted a while back, graduated from Stanford.
Yeah.
In the G League for a little bit.
He played with Washington, the Wizards, for a little bit. When John Wall was out, he was playing in Washington.
Yeah. I remember. And then he got last week. He got picked up. I think it was a day or two before we actually had the show, and nice. He came in and he made some points, and I think they were playing the Bulls, and he was kind of tearing up against them. I was kind of getting a little nervous.
I think we won that game. Yeah, the Bulls won.
The Bulls did win that game. The Bulls are they've been flirting with danger, and I don't like it.
I know, but they're growing up, man. They're a young team, and they're growing up before our very eyes.
I sat there last night, and we were down at Sport Fans, and I was watching the bowl game versus the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
And girlfriend's next to me, and she's like, "Oh, the Bulls are winning. Like, you should be happy." I'm like, just wait. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to make it interesting. And 2 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. She's like, "You were absolutely right. They might lose this." I was like, "Don't talk like that."
They're a young team, but I mean, obviously the coaching is so much better this year, and that's obviously could be the biggest thing. And obviously the players got better, but yeah, the coaching is just head and shoulders so much better. Obviously, like the players like Zach and all the other players are comfortable. So, yeah, I mean the Bulls are sitting at the sixth spot in the East now, so that's that's really good. The East is still pretty competitive. Indiana's still going to be pretty competitive. And heck, even I can't remember the team. Orlando. They're going to still. I mean, they're still going to compete. They're still competing. They lost Markelle Fultz, but they picked up Chason Randall and instead of Cole Anthony. So the East is not going to be a cakewalk.
No, it's not. They've got. I mean, I still think that until Brooklyn figures out how to play defense, I think Milwaukee takes it. I could see Brooklyn taking.
I can't trust Milwaukee. That's the thing.
I can trust Milwaukee in the regular season. I can't trust them in the postseason.
Yeah, I still think Brooklyn comes out because Brooklyn's offense is so. I mean, when Brooklyn's offense is clicking with all three of those guys, they're going to be. I mean, their offense is going to be their defense. You're going to have to outscore them.
but that's and that's the thing that I keep going back and forth with is that's the NBA that we live in right now. Is that it's almost an entirely offensive.
Yeah.
It's how many points can they score, and defense is overlooked so much that it's I don't
Well,
know.
not
I
in
just
the playoffs, not really, because the playoffs, things slow down and teams play more in the half court. So,
in the playoffs, that's crunch time. Of course, you're going to play
yeah,
defense in crunch
the
time.
defense. The game slows down in the playoffs. It's half. That's why a team like Milwaukee, in the regular season, they can get up and down the court, fast break you to death. But in the playoffs, you're playing more in the half court. So Giannis can't run out and just do what Giannis normally does, just dunk the ball. And all you have to actually run set. So you actually have to, move the ball and be able to break your man off a dribble and stuff like that. And teams don't have playmakers and they get exposed in the playoffs.
Well, rightfully so. I mean, and that's really what that first round is it's the teams that are actually there versus the teams that are kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
And are just hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And and that's the crazy thing about the playoffs is you never know what those teams are. I mean, you have a general idea, but then there's always that lower seed that seems to make it farther than anybody thinks they should have.
If they're playing their best basketball at that given time, then you never say never. I mean, if that team is literally playing really good basketball, then hey, and then you saw it before when obviously when the Dallas Mavericks, this was 2007 when Dallas Mavericks lost to Golden State Warriors, with Baron Davis and those guys. The Golden State Warriors are playing some of their best basketball, and they had a favorable matchup, and the AC beat a 1 seed. Just like in football, you want to be playing your best football at the playoffs. You pick up that momentum and string together some wins.
Exactly.
It's all about momentum in sports.
Speaking of momentum,
yeah.
What is going on with our Hawkeyes?
I mean, what is it, February? This is typical Iowa, dude. Iowa, like I said, this is where they're flaming out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose the first game of the Big Ten tournament. This is a brutal loss. I mean, this is like a eye-opening loss. I mean, this Iowa team started the season like they were number 4 in the country. I mean, at one point, I think they might have even been higher. I think were they won at one time? No, they were never won because their fault. Yeah, but they're a top 5 team in this country, and now they're not even the top. They're barely a top 5 team in the Big Ten. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois. I mean,
I don't think they were ever going to beat Michigan with the way Michigan has been playing this year. But what annoys me is how bad that beating was.
Exactly.
And that's the wake-up call that you're talking about is that we're supposed to be a top-ranked team, and we just got blown out of the water. And you can't just depend upon your offense to be Garza the entire time.
Defensive foot speed.
Your other guys are on. Like you need to have Wieskamp. You need to have him be on. You need to have Frederick be on. You need Bohannon needs to be less streaky and more consistent. And that's how you're going to get farther in the tournament. But this team, they're not going to.
No, I never have. They were never going to.
I was really hoping that they would have turned it around and maybe made some waves towards the tournament. But looking at it now, I don't see any hope. Their next true test, it comes up against Illinois, and I think that's the last game of the season before the Big Ten tournament.
They play Gonzaga, or not Gonzaga. They play Ohio State on the 28th. That's at Ohio State. After Ohio State beat us here by far, they're probably going to lose that on that. If that would be a big win though to go to Ohio State and beat them on the road, that would be big. But I don't see that happening. And then they play Nebraska and Wisconsin to finish off the season. So I mean, those are 2 winnable games. So if you could beat Ohio State and then
beat Illinois one more time.
No, not unless it's a makeup game. I don't see it on their schedule.
I could be wrong.
But yeah, if you can string together 3 wins, then the season and then make some more in the Big Ten tournament. I don't see this team really making a run in the Big Ten tournament, much the NCAA tournament. maybe we win the game here or there, here, that, but that's it. I just don't see this team be able to go far in a tournament. I feel like they just don't have enough.
Oh, and I feel like this was the season for them to be taken seriously as a competitor, to be able to make some waves and say, hey, we're here to play, we're here to compete, and we can, hang with some of these teams. And they're not showing that at all. I mean, ever since that loss to Indiana, it's been awful, downright awful, and
Tough, man.
you can't count on them to do anything. I mean, they lose the games that they're supposed to win, and then they'll sometimes win, but then they'll get completely annihilated by the games that they're supposed to be somewhat competitive with. So I don't know what the answer is. Sports in general have frustrated me lately. This past weekend, I had 4 parlays get ruined by one team that was supposed to win. Just win. That was it. Win. And they lose.
What team was that?
I rage quit, and I pulled all my money out of my sports betting accounts and back into my own account. It was like $600. I have never received so many profit boosts and deposit bonuses thrown my way in my life than over the last 2 days. From DraftKings and BetMGM, it's been nuts.
I'm not at that level. Yeah, I don't sports bet. I messed around. I think I said in the past, but yeah, I don't do. It does make the games more exciting.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
Well, especially now with COVID and everything going on, I just feel like now just kind of be like time. I made a couple bets earlier this year on a couple football games, and I was pretty good. And one bet I should have won, but the kicker missed a field goal, and that's what was. That's what did me in. But other than that, I've kind of stayed away from that, especially this year, with all the uncertainty going on and players being in and out of the lineup and whatnot.
Is it not insane how close they get when they throw the odds there?
Yeah, it literally comes it's like comes down to like a pointer or two or a decimal. Like it's scary how close they get, but they've been doing it for a long time. So I just chalk it up to more so experience.
Those half a points are heartbreakers, man.
Yeah, yes they are. Yes they are, my friend.
But moving on from sports betting, because we'll kind of go back to the world of college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we are about 3 weeks away from really starting to get into the tournament, who is your favorite to win it all? Let's say win it all.
Why Gonzaga? I think this might be Gonzaga's year to finally break through, just to capture that. They've been in the championship game, and I know they've been in the Elite Eight. They've been in the Final Four numerous times. They've never. I think they might have played for the championship maybe once in the last 5 years, but they've never won it. Like I think this might be their year to win it. They might be the Virginia of a few years ago, when Virginia finally broke through and won it. I think this is Gonzaga's year.
Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Gonzaga win it, but I think I would love to see Michigan win it. I think that if the brackets play out right, you could see Michigan versus Gonzaga in the
championship. That won't be a bad game. That would not. And I mean, the Big Ten usually shows out in the NCAA tournament. We usually have a few teams go pretty far ahead. Purdue's, liable, has gotten hot and got to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight. Maryland. Rutgers. The Big Ten usually shows out pretty good in the tournament. So, it's quite possible that Michigan can go as far as the national championship. They've just been dominant. So,
there's another team I was looking at. I like Texas. I think Texas could make some waves going in there.
I like Shaka Smart. They got a really good coach.
I was going to look at the standings, but we can save that for whenever. But Texas, I think, would be a good underdog, especially because they're going to get one of those lower seeds, I believe. I don't think that they're going to be a super high seed. I think they would probably get middle. Let's take a look. Standings. While we're doing this, did you see what's going on in the NBA right now?
No, what's that?
So there's an NBA investigation against the Utah Jazz vice president, Elijah Millsap, younger brother of Paul Millsap. Back in 2015, he is accusing Dennis Lindsey from the Jazz of making bigoted comments during their exit interview. And my heart goes out to players when they have to go through something like this, because I think it happens. I think it does happen, but I also don't think it happens as much as it's advertised. Just reading the article, just talking about it, and he said that it was an exit interview conducted with the coach and a couple front office members and this Dennis Lindsey, and even the coach, was asked about it, and the coach is just like, I was in the room, and he goes, I can't even imagine Dennis Lindsey saying something like that. And so it's, if you on one side, you got the coach who's saying, hey, I didn't hear it said. I know the guy's character, and I don't think he would ever say something like that. And then you have the player that is saying, well, he said this, and this happened. And it's a he said, she said situation.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what the comments are. I had to do some more digging into that. I just saw article or a headline for that on ESPN, so I'll definitely have to read more into it. And
it wasn't anything like there was no, from what I gathered, there was no foul language used, but just like, like race was brought into it, and I'm gonna send your ass back to Louisiana. And it was just like, well, the comment that he made wasn't like bigoted, but it's the fact that he brought race into it was kind of where the line was drawn, I guess, according to Elijah Millsap. But I don't know. When you see different things like this, my mind always goes to the whole, not Martellus Bennett. Who's his brother? Michael Bennett. Where he came in and he said that during that Las Vegas shooting outside of the Mayweather fight, that he was, abused by police, and that he got in trouble, that he was racially profiled, and that they didn't handle the situation at all like they should have. And then a few days later, it comes out that they got him on camera cooperating with the police. The police were being very friendly with him and talking to him. And it was like, you just made up this giant story. And it really diminished what everybody was trying to fight for, was, bringing awareness to inequality. And when you have players like that make these trumped up charges and file these accusations, and they turn out to be untrue, it kind of sheds the light away from the real issues, and you don't take it as seriously. I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense coming out of my mouth, but I don't know. I guess I want to get your 2 cents in on it and see what you think.
I think you really just have to handle it on a case by case basis. You're gonna have to do your investigating if you're the NBA and find out what was said during the exit interview with the Jazz player, and then you decide that um, whether that constitutes racial profiling or what he's accusing the Jazz office of doing. Like I said, I haven't heard the remarks, but each situation is different. Like I know you brought up the Michael Bennett incident in the NFL. But then I remember the whole thing with the Toronto Raptors guy, how the police was saying how he assaulted him and all this and that. But the video came out, and it was like the cop actually assaulted him. So like, and I'm like, well, the cop was like saying how he feared for his life, and I'm like, the cop was the one that was the aggressor in that video. And I remember like seeing that video, like I mean, the cop had his body camera, and he clearly shoves like the guy twice, and the guy's like, hey, I'm trying to I'm in a I'm a front office staff, and the cop's just like it's uber aggressive. So yeah, I've seen both sides kind of exaggerate the truth there. You just have to really handle on a case by case basis. I think and then you decide from there.
From one of the founders of For Fantasy's Sake, Deej Jarvis, who is running for school board. So if you live in the city of Rock Island, vote Jarvis. Definitely reaching out to all our viewers and our staff members. Yeah, he's shaming me right now that we need some Fair Fantasy State gear, which it will be on its way. I can't promise that it'll be here in time for the next show, but 2 shows. Give me 2 shows. 2.
Yeah. It's definitely in my agenda. I can tell you that. I thought that when I first saw the gear, I thought we'd be good to just have that on, the show. Gives you one less thing to worry about, right?
Exactly. All right, so I finally got the AP poll pulled up. I'm in love with Texas. Currently ranked number 14 in the country. They're probably gonna get, like I said, somewhere in that middle seed. Could be a 6, could be a 4, maybe somewhere in there. Maybe even less. It really also depends upon how they do in their tournament.
Texas. I do like Shaka Smart, man. It's a really good coach.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Texas. Baylor is another one. They're undefeated, 17-0. They were the other team I was trying to think of outside of Gonzaga, and I don't know how I didn't think of them.
Bears.
But I think that I think they'll put up a good fight with a lot of different teams, and they'll at least be competitive. Looking at Houston, I also like Florida State. Florida State's another one.
13 I like the well coach. They're
13-3, and they're number 11 in the country.
Yeah, they're usually always well coached. Lane Hamilton.
But the other one that jumped out at me, Tennessee ranked number 25.
They're
I would not trust Tennessee as far as I could throw them, and that's not very.
I've seen Tennessee throttle Iowa, and I've just seen them dismantle. Like they're just by being a tougher team. I've seen them out.
But I think they're in that same category as Iowa is. I think that they could be good, and if they're on, they're on. But if they're not, they are very bad.
Tennessee, I haven't seen a lot of them this year, to be honest, so I can't. Tough.
It's the perks of betting on basketball is that you watch all these different games, and then you hold grudges against these teams for breaking your heart later. But we can go on to the pros. What Minnesota? So over the last week or so, Minnesota Timberwolves fired their head coach and hired the Toronto Raptors assistant coach.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of upset about that move because the coach got passed over African American head coach, coaching candidate, who a lot of people felt that should have been the head coach.
I
I
don't
think it was the right.
remember. I
Was
just
that
don't
another
remember
sport?
seeing a time in season where a coach is fired and then they hire another coach from outside of the organization.
I'm a big fan of hiring from within, so that.
And that's fine. Like, I mean, you can hire from like if that's in season, why would you not just promote an interim coach and let them lead your team? Why go and try and take a coach from another team and bring them in?
Maybe it's somebody that they've had their eyes on for a while.
I don't know. It was just one of those moves that it made me scratch my head a bit because then now if I'm on the coaching staff, now I'm under the impression that you don't believe in me. I don't know if my job is safe after the season's over. You guys just might do a mass overhaul, fire
Well,
everybody.
I think you kind of had to operate that way since the head coach already got fired. I mean, you don't know if you'll be retained or not. It depends on the new staff. You just don't know. But you have. I mean, you're still coaching to the best of your abilities because you never know if you could be picked up by another franchise. So you want them to speak highly of you, like, hey, like he did, like, you're being evaluated. Whether it's for that remaining there or going somewhere else. So
I just don't know about it because it's like I said, it's you're in that situation
it's tough.
and
It's you know how cutthroat sports is. Sports is super cutthroat, man.
well,
It's
yeah,
just
but I mean, I guess I've just never seen it where I've seen. Okay, so you get your boss gets fired. Okay, you guys are in season. You guys are running a million miles a minute. Okay, we're either going to run without a boss or somebody's going to in the office is going to take over. But then they decide to go outside and bring somebody else in to take over. And now you're like, okay, well, it's what's going on? What's happening? And in the world of NBA, in the world of basketball and sports in general, it's completely different than an everyday job. But because those coaches, they're all going for the same thing. They're coaching and they're showing that they can be a head coach somewhere.
yeah.
Maybe one.
That's ultimate. That's the end game for every one of those guys in there.
And now these coaches, they're on this Timberwolves staff. They're not even going to get that chance to be an interim coach to show that they can kind of do it because the Timberwolves went and hired somebody else from outside the organization, brought him in.
They can always get hired on somewhere else, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's depending on who you have ties with. If you have ties with this guy, you will. I mean, you just never know. That's what I'm saying. You have to still coach, to the best of your abilities.
I don't know if I can coach the best of my abilities with that team right now, though.
I know the Timberwolves are. They're like the Sacramento Kings, and like they're just stuck in losing mentality.
Yeah,
It's tough, man.
Well, Malik Beasley just got suspended for 12 games.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah. So he's not able to return, I think, till the end of March.
March 27th.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's what can they do now to really save their season? And it's we're a month and a half in. Well, a little more than a month and a half. We're 2 months in. We're 2 months in.
I mean, just see what they got. Save their season. I mean, what is saving their season consistent? Them making the playoffs because they're not making the playoffs.
That's what I'm referring to. Is
see what you got in Anthony Edwards. Just let the rookie play out the rest of his season and just see if he's and continue developing your other young talent. But they don't play defense like Towns. They don't commit on the defensive end, so they're never going to go anywhere if they don't commit on that end. Like D'Angelo Russell and I mean, I know him and Towns are good friends, but you got to commit to playing better defense. So that's It doesn't matter who they have as a coach. If they don't commit to playing defense and don't get some defensive guys in there, it doesn't matter.
I mean, they're 7-26, and they're already looking at mathematically being eliminated from the playoffs, which is shocking.
They're gonna have another top 5 pick this year. I'm like, well, what else? Who are you gonna draft now? I mean,
Need a point guard.
they got Russell and they got Edwards. They got those are 2 guards already. They got Towns. Maybe they want to get another big or something. I don't know. Maybe they want to trade. I mean, they need whoever they had to play defense.
They did get D'Angelo Russell. I forgot about that.
I mean, he's having surgery, so he's out. But yeah, the thing with D'Angelo Russell is he needs the ball in his hands like too much, like to be effective. That's the problem. Like he just, I mean, just the way he plays, it's like he needs the ball in his hands. Like he's not really effective playing off the ball, or doing, or just playing that, that kind of style, or just even, saying setting picks for his teammates or getting his teammates ready. So, it's like the ball sticks in his hands, and I mean, that's why it didn't really work for him in Golden State.
In that aspect.
Yeah, that's why it didn't work for him in Golden State, because I'm like his style doesn't mesh with Golden State's, offense where they pass the ball.
Well, I think he went to Golden State so that he could try and just get an easy ring.
No, he got traded to Golden State, remember? He signed. Remember they signed.
I'm pretty sure he signed there as a free agent.
No, they did a sign and trade with Brooklyn. He was playing with the Brooklyn Nets, and Brooklyn signed him to the max contract and traded him to Golden State for Kevin Durant. That's how they made that Kevin Durant trade work. That's
where the confusion went.
Yeah,
I thought
he was gonna. I forgot. No, well, once Kevin Durant made up his mind about going to Brooklyn, Golden State worked with him to get him the max. Golden State signed him to a max, and then they traded him to Brooklyn.
See, that happened during free agency period, and when that all happens, I keep forgetting the NBA has this sign and trade thing over the NFL and the NBA or the MLB, things like that. You don't see that too often in the other leagues, so I just attribute it with a free agent signing.
Yeah.
But yeah, D'Angelo Russell, he's hurt. You've got Anthony Edwards, who's actually having a pretty decent rookie season.
He is. He's just not. I mean, he's scoring the ball, but like I want to see more in this game. It's like as far as when this game develops, can he be a good playmaker? And is he going to play defense? You know what I'm saying? Because scoring is cool, but I mean, you guys can't outscore your team. You got to play defense to be able to get stops. And you're young enough too, where you just need a good coach to come in and kind of help instill those principles. So
he did have a super nice poster over the weekend.
Yeah, that one was pretty nasty. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, this is their real time to figure out who their playmakers are and players that are going to step up and be able to play, well for them and lead them to a championship eventually. That's what I would utilize this time as for, because I didn't realize they were that bad in record.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew they were bad, but I didn't realize the record was that bad.
I didn't either until you said something. I'm like, man, they're going to be. That's how I'm like, man, they're going to get another lottery pick.
Must be nice. But I mean, look how long it took. Cleveland. They had several lottery picks, one right after the other, and then they got LeBron and they made a trade, and all of a sudden, boom, they were going to be in the championship. So they could wind up doing something like that. Not saying that they'll be able to get a LeBron James, but
you mean Minnesota? Yeah, but man, they would have to already have something like there in place. Crazier. Like if Devin Booker would end up there, because I know Devin Booker's friends with like Towns and whatnot, and D'Angelo Russell. If he were to end up there, then like, all right, well then people want to come to Minnesota because they want to play with Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? But you need something there to kind of draw somebody there. Unless you could trade and get like
come play with Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, You have a big guy down low that can finish, that can make blocks, that can do a variety of different things. Why would you not want to come play with Cat?
Don't play no defense. That's their problem. Well, I mean, the thing was, the Cat's young. They're all still young. They can fix this, and they can be better. They just have to obviously commit to that end. So they're young enough. But I mean, if they weren't playing defense, I mean, they did when they had Thibodeau. But if Tibbs couldn't get that team to really commit to playing defense, then I mean, what are you gonna do really? I mean, Tibbs, that's what he's known for. I mean, he's coaching the Knicks now. Look, the Knicks are playing great defense, like hellacious defense.
But I mean, I feel like that's what you just have. You have to have players buy into it. And if players don't buy in, then you're not going to be successful.
That's true.
And I don't know what the morale or the feeling is in Minnesota, but right now it can't be too good. you're already looking at, well, how good of a draft pick are we going to have?
I mean, I don't even know who's really in the draft or coming. I mean, what prospects are coming out. This is kind of not. It's seeming like it's going to be a light draft this year. I mean, obviously prospects emerge, and we know with everything going on, but like, there's no like franchise guy coming out. So, we'll see. I mean,
there's always a couple big name guys coming in, and as much as I would love for it to be, Garza is not a
Garza's
a franchise guy.
I'm gonna be curious to see where Garza actually gets drafted at. I want to say late first round, but I mean, since he's a 4-year player, but it's kind of a bias against 4-year players. But I can still see a team, taking him in the late first. So,
I think he'll go in the first round. I think right in that middle, he'll go.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to be a good role player on whatever team he goes to, and be a building block to helping them win. But it's a matter of where he goes.
Fit is everything. I just saw that Tyler Cook got picked up by he's getting picked up by the Brooklyn Nets. I'm like, man, that's big. That's really big. Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are about to sign him.
I don't know how much time he's going to get, but
he's young and fork. I mean, he plays deep. I mean, he gets out there defensively too. So he can that second unit. You can definitely provide some depth. Back up. He's a leaper too. Back up. He could probably play center if they play small ball. Yeah.
I don't see the Nets playing small ball very much.
I mean, it was if they play with Durant, Irving, and Harden on the court, and then you have like Jeff Green, and you have like a Tyler Cook. That's hypothetically small ball. And I mean, yeah, you have a bunch. Yeah, and I guess Durant's not really. Yeah, Durant's. He's not really small, but he's small in the sense of like he's weight wise. But he's still like got like a 7-something wingspan.
Yeah, his wingspan is what makes him very, very dangerous, and that he can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court and be very effective. He's a cheat code, is what he is.
Yeah, agreed.
But that was kind of all I really saw this week in the world of basketball. I don't know if you saw anything or anything jumped at you or is eating at you to talk about.
No, I mean I know people are I'm not really freaking out about the Lakers' recent slide. They've got some guys out and whatnot, but like I just keep hearing that all around. Like all people are panicking, and I mean I'm like just get a grip or something. Fine.
AD is hurt. They have to realize that AD is hurt, and once he comes back, they're gonna be the powerhouse again.
Yeah. I'm not really worried too much about that. No, Utah looks nice. I shout out to Utah. The Utah Jazz are playing really good basketball now. They look really good. The Clippers, they're kind of just humming along, doing their thing, and whatnot. But yeah,
in the Clippers.
I'm really following the East. I'm following the Bulls. The Bulls look nice. I'm watching a lot of their games. Saw where DeMarcus Cousins got waived, and interested to see where he ends up. The Lakers are looking at him, but I also heard that Brooklyn was looking at him too. So we'll see where he ends up. Um, let's see, New York they're still competing and doing their thing. I'm really just waiting for the playoffs to start because I really want to see how Boston's going to look, how Milwaukee's going to look. Philadelphia really for real. I actually have a buddy who's a Mavericks fan. I was talking to him, mentioned, dude, the Mavericks are not going to make the playoffs this year. And he swears they are, but I'm like, the Mavericks are not that good. So
On the
we'll see
bubble right
they're not even. I mean, they're like the 10th seed in the West, but man, they just don't play defense either. Like
now.
their interior defense is really just getting exposed.
Mavericks and Grizzlies are the two teams in the West that I really would like to see get in, but
I think the Grizzlies will get in. The Grizzlies just beat the Clippers tonight. They beat them by like 28. Yeah,
that's why I'm not really liking the Clippers, is because they get beat by teams like this, and they're very streaky. But yeah, Philly beat Dallas tonight. Brooklyn put up a 30-point win against the Magic, which isn't saying a whole lot. The Knicks put up 140 on the Kings. We got Washington leading Denver by 2 at the half. And right now in the first quarter, you have Milwaukee beating the Pelicans. So right now, the games that are going on, you kind of figured this is what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to be competitive early on. Nobody's going to really run away with it, and then you just kind of go from there. But Philly at home is just good luck. I mean, they're 14-2 at home. So if they end up getting a first seed in the playoffs, which just by their home record they might have a halfway decent shot at getting, they could do some damage as well. Because I mean, that's going to be a tough place to play.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Philly can definitely. I mean, Embiid's playing out of his mind. He's playing like a beast. I think Philly could definitely make the Eastern Conference Finals. And I mean, Philly. I mean, if Embiid's healthy, I think Philly could probably push Brooklyn, just because Brooklyn don't really have anybody that can guard him down low. And I think he can, slow the game down and go to the free throw line. And I think he can definitely, do that for Philadelphia. So, and then Simmons can kind of fit in. And Philly's got a really good team around them too. With Danny Green and Seth Curry and obviously Tobias Harris. So yeah, it's I think Philly will definitely be a tough out this year. I'm not sold on Boston much either. I think the Bulls can maybe get in and make some noise, but I don't think the Bulls are going to upset anybody. I mean, we're just a young team, and I think it'd be nice if we could push a team to 6 or 7 games in the first round. I like to see that. I just don't want to see us get swept.
Personally, I think it depends upon who they play.
Yeah, of course, matchups are everything. New York, I like the New Yorkers also doing good too. Like, I mean, New York's a basketball a basketball city. They need to be good, in basketball. And let's see, that's about it in the East. Milwaukee, we got to see what Milwaukee does in the playoffs when they first start. I mean, and yeah, that's Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn will probably coast through the first round or two. And yeah.
We are about almost halfway through the season, and we're already gearing up for playoff basketball.
Yeah, because all these regular season games are just really just teams to get down their sets and everything and get ready for the playoffs. So
we'll wait and see, but we will end the night. Again, thank you all for watching. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, huge shout out to Yard Barbers for sponsoring Points in the Paint. Also, for those of you that tuned in late, we have a team store now. Huge shout out to Viridian Global. Check out the comments in the feed here, and you're able to go check out the For Fantasy State gear. Got beanies, snapbacks, T-shirts, and baseball tees. I think Sam said he saw a hoodie in there that he's been eyeing.
Yeah,
we're super excited about it. Go check it out. But for me, that's about all I have. We'll be excited to see you next week, Thursday, 8:30. Sam, do you have anything to add?
No, always reach out. Let us know what you want to hear about, and we can try to touch on it. Thank you for tuning in with us. We appreciate it.
All right. We will see you guys later. You guys take care.
Have a good night.